My friends, today we have over 20 minutes of obscure and useless Pokémon Snap facts, information, and deep lore. Pokémon Snap is a photography, high-score game released for the Nintendo 64 in 1999, developed by HAL Laboratory, who are so named to be one letter ahead of IBM in their acronym, which is pretty funny. You play as a fellow named Todd Snap, who cruises along in an amphibious vehicle called the 01, taking pictures of the first generation Pokemon and having them scored by Professor Oak. Yes, and like many 90s Nintendo 64 classics, gamers continue to compete at the game, optimizing strategies and setting new world records to this very day. So my friends, get comfy, pour yourself a warm beverage, and let's share some fascinating, obscure, and mostly useless facts and stories about Pokémon Snap.
Here we go!
So here's a quick one to start that's fairly well known, but maybe not. When you 100% complete Pokémon Snap, you'll notice you've photographed 63 Pokémon in total. It's not unreasonable to assume that for a Nintendo 64 game, they couldn't fit all 151 first-generation Pokémon into the game, so it makes sense that most had to be cut. But this raises an interesting question. Why 63 Pokémon instead of 64 to fit the theme of the Nintendo 64? Well, there are two screenshots from beta builds of the game showing Ekans, who is simply not in the final version of the game. It's reasonable to assume that Ekans was originally supposed to be in the game to make a grand total of 64 Pokemon, but he was cut for one reason or another. There are no other beta or pre-release screenshots of any other Pokemon that didn't make it into the final version, so Ekans was definitely the one who got cut. My personal headcanon is that he was cut maybe because they couldn't get the N64 to clearly render the movement and animation of such a skinny, slithery, snaky Pokemon, or at least weren't satisfied with the way he looked at the end of the day. It's kind of a shame he's not in there and that these two screenshots are all we have left to remember Ekans' cut inclusion from Pokémon Snap. So, Pokémon Snap has 6 main stages in the game. There's one sort of bonus boss battle stage, the Rainbow Cloud, where you photograph Mew, but Mew's the only Pokemon in that stage, so we can leave that in the back of our mind for now. The other stages are Beach, Tunnel, Volcano, River, Cave, and Valley. And my friends, if I told you there was one Pokemon who appears on all 6 stages in the game, who would you guess it might be? Yes, if you guessed the one and only beloved Magikarp, you would be correct. Magikarp appears on every single stage. It makes sense for him to be found on Beach, River, and Valley, the water levels, but even in the non-water-based stages, you can find a pond somewhere in which Magikarp dwells, and that even includes Volcano towards the end. The world record for Magikarp is 5250 and takes place on Valley, since you can get 2 of them pretty large in frame side by side. And this world record is very impressive, no doubt about that. However, intrepid gamers are always looking for additional challenges even beyond just the natural high score competition for each Pokemon. So the gaming website Cyberscore does track records for Magikarp scores on every other stage. On Beach, Magikarp appears pretty much anywhere you can throw an apple or pester ball into the water, like this bridge crossover halfway through. The best Magikarp on Beach is 4,000 points, a simple 1,000 max size and 1,000 max pose, and this has been attained by numerous gamers. Pretty cool to see. On Tunnel, Magikarp appears in this pond, roughly halfway through the stage, near the Zapdos power generator. The record for Tunnel Magikarp is only 3,600 points, 1,000 max size, 800 pose, double to 3,600. It does not seem possible to actually get a 1,000 pose for Tunnel Magikarp for whatever reason. Perhaps the devs just didn't want Tunnel Magikarp to be cool enough. The Volcano Magikarp record score is also 4,000, just like on Beach. 1,000 size, 1,000 pose, doubled for 4,000. And the Volcano Magikarp is pretty funny and cute. You definitely want a picture of this Magikarp when going for an overall high score record on Volcano, because it multiplies your overall score of every picture by the total number of Pokemon scored, and so getting this Magikarp towards the end of Volcano is integral to that category of the game. But back to the Magikarp high scores. On River, the record Magikarp is 4,400 points, 1,000 max size and 1,200 for pose, because it's finally here where you can get Magikarp jumping out of the water with these sparkling stars, which is a 1,200 point pose for most aquatic Pokemon. I suppose they wanted to wait a few stages before introducing this bonus sparkling pose. You can also get 4,400 for a single Magikarp on Valley with the same sparkling pose, but we see this nice comment from Nilu, a longtime Pokemon Snap player and contributor, sharing that it was on River where he got his very first 4,400 Magikarp. How nice. Now, this leaves the cave, and this is perhaps the most interesting of the extra Magikarps. You see, Magikarp appears in this small pond about halfway through the stage. Now here, unlike all the other Magikarps, we can't get close enough to get a 1,000 size score. Not even close to 1,000. There are two gamers who have picture proof, which is considered adequate in Pokemon Snap, of 3320s, that being 460 size, 1,200 sparkling splash pose for 1660, doubled for good technique to 3320. That being said, the aforementioned Nilu claims to have gotten a 3340, which does seem entirely possible. In fact, it's likely that even higher could be snapped. That being said, there's no proof of this 3340, not that any is really needed, it's just kind of a silly side category after all, and so the 3340 Magikarp is just something lost to the ether of Nintendo 64, lost to time, lost media, or at least unmade media. Personally, I would love to see a picture of 3340 or higher Cave Magikarp, and hey, that's part of what's so great about making videos like this. Perhaps someone out there will get inspired, turn on their carts, and go out there and get it. One of the most obscure of any Pokemon Snap high scores, the Cave Magikarp. Good luck, Magikarp snappers. Now, if you thought that was a lot of obscure and useless Magikarp information, buckle up, because now you're about to hear a whole lot about Pikachu, who is prominently featured in Pokemon Snap, as one might expect for a game featuring Generation 1 Pokemon. And Pikachu has even more side categories than Magikarp. Pikachu can be found on 4 of the 6 main stages in the game: Beach, Tunnel, Cave, and believe it or not, River. Yes, indeed, many perhaps forgot or never knew that Pikachu could be found on River, and we'll get to that in more detail in a few moments. Volcano and Valley are the 2 stages on which Pikachu cannot be found, which is kinda weird because if they could fit him in all these other stages, why not Volcano or Valley? But alas, that's neither here nor there, I suppose. Pikachu is the Pokemon who has by far the most special bonuses in the game, that being bonus points just given for the sake of them doing something cute, silly, or special. Most Pokemon don't have any special bonus at all, and only a handful have a special bonus. But Pikachu has 6 special bonuses, and of course, we're gonna go over all 6. The first and most common special Pikachu bonus most players might remember is Surfing Pikachu. As soon as you unlock apples in the game, you learn to toss them around and bait Pokemon to move to new locations. Naturally, baiting Pikachu to hop on his surfboard and make some cool moves. This special scores a bonus 1,000 points, which is actually quite a lot. However, it's tough to get close, and the record size for Surfing Pikachu is only 540 points. When added to the 1250 pose score you get with Pikachu flipping around, you get 5580, which has been done by 2 gamers, Nilu and Maximus Prime. A higher score may be possible, a 550 size or bigger might be equable, and these side categories aren't super optimized. So, if you want to try for a Pokemon Snap record yourself, why not give Surfing Pikachu a shot? But Surfing Pikachu is far from the highest scoring bonus Pikachu. In fact, it's not even the highest scoring bonus on the beach stage. That's right, if you end up luring out Scyther with Pester Balls, then you'll get 2 Pikachus who come running out of the grass onto these tree stumps. Pikachu on a stump is its own special worth 1,300 points, And not only that, but you can get 2 Pikachu in this pick for even more points. Plus, if you play your Pokeflute, it angers the Pikachu, who then shoot off lightning, a pose that zaps Professor Oak worth a pretty huge 1,300 points. So the Pikachu on a stump record is a massive 7,020 points by Maximus Prime, a 670 main Pikachu size, 1,300 points, and 480 bonus friend size. Pretty amazing. Higher is quite possibly possible, as again, this category hasn't been super optimized, but it's definitely been played quite a bit, and a lot more than Surfing Pikachu. The lightning makes it super laggy and difficult to repeatedly grind, and believe it or not, getting over 7,000 points on a single shot is only possible for Pikachu and Mew, so this is really quite a remarkable score. But even more unbelievably, this is only the 3rd highest scoring Pikachu. But hold that thought, because now we're going to get into the 2 lower scoring Pikachu before the truly amazing ones. On the tunnel stage, all you've got to do is start taking pics of Pikachu. He'll move a bit each time and then climb on top of the electrode. This gets you Pikachu on a ball. This is only worth a paltry 600 special bonus points, not much compared to the others. However, this one has been maxed by numerous gamers, adding a 1,000 size and 1,000 pose for a grand total of 5,200. This is actually not bad of a final score, considering many Pokemon max out in the 4,000 range, so it really shows you how powerful these special bonuses are, and in a way how inflated it makes Pikachu's scores in Pokemon Snap. Now for the Pikachu on River, which I think is the most rare, least examined, possibly the least optimized, and if there's one you probably never knew about when you played back in the day, it would be this one. At the very end of River, if you ignore the Porygon ending to unlock Cave, and ignore the soaring Shelter and Cloisters above in the sky, and look towards the left-hand side, you can barely see the yellow mouse Pokemon playing Peekaboo with his hollowed-out tree. If you manage to cleanly snap Pikachu, he will come out of the tree and initiate Speed Pikachu zooming around. This one's actually quite tough to snap since he really goes fast. It's easy to miss getting him in the middle of the shot, which will fail the good technique, doubling of your score. That being said, the special gives you 800 points, and we've seen some pictures with 600 size, 1,000 pose, doubled for a grand total of 4,800. This has been performed by Maximus Prime and Roundy, 2 great Pokemon Snap players. Nilu claims a 4820, unfortunately with no photo proof, but this would imply a 610 size, and Nilu comments that 620 or 630 could be possible. So once again, if you want to get out there and go for a world record, perhaps in the niche and obscure category of Speed Pikachu, it may just be the one for you. Now we get to the 2 highest scoring Pikachus, both taking place on Cave, just after the Magikarp Pond and Weepinbell Pond. Zubat will pick up Pikachu and carry him off through the cave. If you hit them with a Pester Ball, Zubat drops Pikachu, who falls safely to the ground by virtue of these balloons. This is a very highly scoring special bonus at 1,600 points. Now it can be somewhat difficult to get a good size score here, especially if you don't know how to manipulate your vehicle's speed, and it's a bit of a coin flip whether you get the 1,000 pose or 800 pose score. So you could get the 1,600 special, 500 size points, 800 pose, and that'll only double to 5,800. So some players back in the day definitely had Pikachu on a stump with a higher score on their cartridge. However, it is likely possible to get a 1,000 size and 1,000 pose on the Balloon Pikachu, which with the special would double to 7,200 points. Nilu claims to have achieved this, but unfortunately there's no image proof. Here's what a 950 size for 7,100 total score looks like from Maximus Prime, so that's pretty cool. And I would love to see an official, proven 7,200 Balloon Pikachu someday, so here's hoping that day comes sometime soon. Hey, another thing about Balloon Pikachu. In April 2023, a Twitter post went viral which showed an apparent thrift store find. A printed image of Balloon Pikachu on a red t-shirt with text reading, "See you, idiot bastard." This seems like a one-of-a-kind custom printed t-shirt from back in the day that ended up in a thrift store, though numerous knockoff t-shirt websites popped up immediately with replicas of the shirt. Some folks suggested that "See You, Idiot Bastard" was a play on "See You, Space Cowboy," a popular saying from classic anime series Cowboy Bebop. But my personal interpretation is that this was probably an inside joke between friends. Perhaps one didn't even believe Balloon Pikachu was real, their friend showed them that it was indeed real, as in, "See, you idiot bastard," and the t-shirt was made to commemorate the moment. That's just my personal guess, but hey, either way, Balloon Pikachu is very much real, and it's very much possible to score over 7,000 points with it. Though the image on the t-shirt is definitely not 7,000, the size looks pretty small, probably only 400 for something like 6,000 total points. Anyways. But my friends, this is not even the highest scoring Pikachu on caves. Indeed, if just after the Pikachu balloon encounter you use the Pokeflute to get Jinx to hatch the Articuno egg, Pikachu will run over and eventually climb on Articuno, riding him around. Now I know this one sounds like an urban legend, but it is absolutely real. Playing this game in my youth, I never really saw it happen because I didn't know how to slow down the movement of your vehicle that well, and this is pretty pivotal to getting Pikachu on Articuno, and I was always distracted trying to take pictures of Jigglypuff at the end of the stage anyways. But if you just do nothing here and don't slow yourself down at all and then turn around to watch Articuno fly around, you will get a peek of Pikachu riding around on top of the legendary bird towards the very end of the stage. But it's pretty hard to actually get a snapshot of Pikachu this way. Even if the snapshot says Pikachu on screen, Professor Oak often still considers it to be a picture of Articuno, which is pretty unfortunate. However, if you do the technique of flipping back and forth with C right and C left to slow yourself down, and I don't really love showing this in video because it doesn't make very pleasant visual footage, but this way you can get a much closer shot of Pikachu on Articuno. This gives you a 2,000 point bonus, which is the largest for Pikachu, and the second largest in the game behind only Mew. The kind of troll thing with Pikachu on Articuno is the way to get a 1,000 size Pikachu is to sort of clip through Articuno, or let his flight path clip through you, and snap Pikachu on his back, but without Articuno really being loaded or visible at all. So the shot doesn't look as glamorous as one might hope. That being said, you still get the 2,000 point special, 1,000 size, 1,000 pose, doubled for 8,000 points. And 8,000 is actually a very common tied world record score in the game. It's the highest scoring Pikachu possible, and it's a score that I only got myself for the first time a couple of years ago. This is the second highest score of any Pokemon possible in the game, again behind only Mew, and it is truly remarkable in its own magical way. Of course, this fact isn't quite as obscure as all the other special Pikachus, who have overall been much less snapshotted and competed about through the years. Now, here's something fascinating. Of the Pokemon who do have special bonuses, the highest score you can get from these Pokemon are, of course, usually taking advantage of the special bonus. Fighting Magmar, Graveler's Group Dance, our aforementioned Pikachu. You know, the world record score on all these Pokemon includes that special bonus because it's usually 500, 800 points and it gets doubled, and that really adds up throughout the score. However, there's one exception to this rule where the world record high score does not include that Pokemon special. This Pokemon is none other than the very first one you encounter in the game, Pidgey. Pidgey has one special, Gust using Pidgey, where two Pidgeys go and blast away a Meowth towards the end of the beach stage. Gust using Pidgey is a special worth 500 points, at the lower end of Pokemon Snap's special bonuses. Plus, it's quite hard to get a good size from this angle. So the record for Gust using Pidgey is this 4850 by Maximus Prime. It has the 500 point special, 500 point size, 1250 pose, double to 4500, adding 350 for the bonus Pidgey and frame, for a grand total of 4850. However, the record high score for any kind of Pidgey is much higher, taking place right at the start of the beach stage. By slowing yourself down and then turning 180 degrees, you can get a 1000 size Pidgey, and you can get 2 extra Pidgeys in the frame, which can add up to more than 1000 bonus points from the extra Pidgeys. Adding it all up, the world record score here is 5650, which is 800 points higher than the special Gust using Pidgey high score. This is truly a unique circumstance and gives Pidgey the special distinction of being the only Pokemon in the game whose special score is lower than its non-special. So there, my friends, was roughly 20 minutes of useless information, obscure facts, and lore about the one and only Pokémon Snap for the Nintendo 64. And believe me, I have a lot more minutes I could spend talking about this game, so if you've enjoyed this, do let me know. I've really been enjoying making these videos lately, and if you've been liking them as well, be sure to leave a like, and make sure you're subscribed with notifications on so you won't miss my next video. These are just a great way for me to share whatever random stories, facts, and lore come to mind about an old favorite game, and I hope to do many other games next in this kind of series I've begun on this channel here. You know, maybe Diddy Kong Racing, Mario Tennis if I can find enough, maybe Mickey's Speedway USA, probably more GoldenEye and Perfect Dark. So yeah, make sure you're around for that by hitting that bell, baby. And until then, my friends, stay true, and I'll see you in the next stream or video.